We have been run in by what we call non-economic liberalism. NAACP with no economic program, the Urban League with no economic program. I have a book here, a beautiful book. They put out a beautiful book every year. The State of Black America, 1988. They'll have the State of Black America, 1989. The state of, every year, State of Black America. Wonderful statistics, but no theory, no program. You see, no program at all there. And yet we permitted ourselves to let these people set policy for us. And we are reaping the results out of it. They overran Washington, Booker T. Washington's program. They overran Marcus Garvey and others, and now we can see the result of it. We in fact believe in individual wealth as against group wealth. We are, in a sense, the only true Americans in America, black people. We really believe in that stuff. We really believe in individualism. And yet we are the most stereotyped people in the country. We are viewed as stereotypes by other people. We're rarely seen as individuals by other people. And yet we are the most firm believers in individualism. The reality is that there is no individual power without group power. You cannot become an individual ultimately until your group becomes collectively strong. You can ultimately only gain individual strength through group strength. I talk to college students sometimes by saying, many of you think that you're here in this college, particularly those in predominantly white colleges and so forth, because you come from, some big family, because you scored high on the SATs, because you studied hard and you stayed away from the parties and you did all of this. I'm right here at the great university you are here today. Lies. You think you're the first person that came from good families? You think you're the first generation that had good families? Black people have had good families from the beginning. You think you're the first generation that studied hard? You think you're the first generation of blacks who can score high on SAT exams? Yet I grew up in a generation of people where it didn't matter how high you could score in the exam, how much you had studied. There were just certain colleges you were not going to, period. Period. That was it. In fact, they didn't even give you the exam to take. Don't bother to apply. How did we get into those schools? Not because of the scores we made and so forth, but because blacks without degrees, the blacks who never see the inside of a college and others, put their bodies on the line because of black power, because of the collective activity of black people. That collective activity then permits you as an individual now to have a choice of colleges. It permits you to choose your profession. It permits you to say, well, I'll be a computer engineer, I'll be this, I'll be that. But remember, that choice is based on what? Group power. And the willingness of the black group to back that right up. It is not a right that is inherited in you as an individual, and it is not a right that is just given to you simply because you were born or simply because you went to the right school.
All right.
And when those people in those universities and other places decide they want to take it back from you, you will have to be that black community again that will stand up and say no. And we forget that often. We got a lot of people now, they got a little position in the world, and they want to make it, they want to say it's all the result of their own individual assets. You see, no, it is group power that makes individual choice possible. Which means then that we try to increase our wealth and power as black people, we then must increase it in terms of increasing the power and wealth of the whole group. Or else, individual power and wealth is a mere illusion. I look at Johnson Publications, for instance, and I look at the difference between that magazine in the 60s and what it is today, and how in many ways it cannot deal with real issues in terms of black folk. And even though he may have millions of dollars, in a way there's a fundamental weakness there. Why? Because he cannot afford to do what? Insult his what? White advertisers. So his wealth is really not what? Power, as it would be among the others. His wealth, but in a way, his wealth is also his what? His weakness. I, being poor and without anything, can say what I want to. If he had, though, a black nation doing business and creating wealth, he too could say what he wanted to say. Because he'd have that wealth and nation of people supporting what he had to say. But because he must depend upon another people, he cannot afford to insult them. And so the idea that you can have individual wealth not tied up to the wealth of black people as a group is an illusion of wealth and an illusion of power. And yet many of us have bought into this kind of situation. So we got a lot of us trying to run this little individual game without understanding that it has to be all or none. But you have not yet come to the realization that education is about survival, not about jobs. I was talking to a friend of mine just before I left this afternoon, and he was talking about what a book he was reading called The Genetic Wars. How the Europeans have taken an African fever, dengue fever, and through gene splicing increased its potential, its dangerous potentials, and how it could be sprayed on populations, so forth, and used on populations. I read an article in the Wall Street Journal, now maybe 2-3 years ago, a long piece, that talked about the U.S. germ warfare research, where 23 American universities were engaged in that research. Also the New York Board of Health, also the Department of Agriculture, also MDs. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, the university system of the United States is as much a part of the United States military establishment as is any other institution. Jobs are secondary to their functions. You see, when these planes drop bombs on your head, when these laser beam weapons fire from 500 miles out in space, when these germs such as AIDS and other germs will be released on us and have been released on us, you must recognize that those things have not been created by people in the streets. Those things have been created by professors, by PhDs, and in the university laboratories of this country. That's why educated people are the most dangerous people in the world. It is not the crack dealers that will destroy this earth, ladies and gentlemen. It is not the muggers that will destroy this earth, ladies and gentlemen. It will be people with PhD degrees with 2 fair-haired children and a 2-car garage. Upstanding, moral, church-going citizens who, after they leave service and rest Sunday night, go Monday morning to make bombs and weapons to destroy themselves, their children, and the whole of mankind on earth. And it's those professors who don't even teach very often, who are doing research for the government and doing research for the army and so forth, to such a degree now, that the United States scientific establishment has been skewed in its orientation toward research by military research, which is one of the reasons why it cannot appropriately compete with Japan, because its best brains have been used in the creation of death machines as against machines that can be used for commerce. Understand it? That is why, you see, it is not enough for you to go to white schools and get degrees from white schools. You must own those schools and control those schools. I'll be back to that in a minute. One of the reasons why we have problems too economically as a people, we see racism as a psychomoral problem. Racism essentially is an economic problem. It is essentially a rationalization for maintaining economic, political, military, and other kind of controls over another people. It is not an attitude problem. We think that merely we change white folks' attitude. If they realize we bleed like they do, and we do this like they do, they're going to come to love us. You are out of your mind. Do you think merely by having these people believe their creed that you're going to get out of the situation you're in? No. This racism is a justification and a rationalization for maintaining economic, political, and social dominance. Even the apparent change of racism by whites is still going to be used to maintain their racial dominance. That is, when whites become less obviously racist in their overt attitude, their wealth and their power will still remain where it is. As a matter of fact, they have learned that one of the best ways now of maintaining their power is to appear to be less overtly racist. Now, you think getting black mayors and governors elected represents some advancement for black people? And I realize, of course, we've been through this game before. This is the second Reconstruction anyway. You know, we're getting duped again. And you think that the moving of black people in the classes, in wealth and so forth, represents some advance for black people? I call it neoclassism, to sort of as a parallel with what? Neo-colonialism, where a minority which seeks to maintain its power, where it does not have numerical advantage, recruits from the very people it oppresses, so that those recruits can be used to maintain the power and position of the original group. So the European recognizes that he can as efficiently or more efficiently dominate African economic affairs by having Africans as head of government than having himself as the chief governor of African countries. And now we're going to get a black middle class that puts a black face on white power. Let us not be deceived. So we think then that the problem that we are facing with whites and racism is a problem of morality. And this is in part the result of being led by preachers. You see, and not having a strong secular leadership in the black community. Because people tend to see problems in terms of their profession. And ministers, being concerned very much about moral issues, tend to moralize most issues. You see, but there's much more going on in this world than just a bad attitude. The other problems that we've looked at, the other reason why we have problems with economics is we see our economic problems are resulting from civil rights. And let me just be rapid in terms of the time. Civil rights. It's like a prisoner saying, I have rights in prison. You know? Civil rights are not the same as what? Liberation and so forth. It's not the same as independence and control of oneself. But the thing that I want to get across is, we have this faith in laws. We think as long as the Supreme Court is up there and the government is up there, we have civil rights laws on the books. Everything's going to be cool for us. Let me just quickly tell you one thing, ladies and gentlemen. If it gets down to the point of where the white man has to make a choice between feeding his children or yours, no amount of laws on books, no amount of Supreme Courts, no amount of black governors and mayors or anything else is going to have him feed your children before he feeds his own. The laws are only as strong as their enforcers, and the people who pass the laws are also the same people who enforce the laws. And when it comes to the point where they have to make a choice in terms of their survival and power as against your own, they will ignore the law or seek to or not enforce the laws. So ultimately, your salvation lies in power, not in goodwill of the other people, not in the love of the other people, not in laws on the books and all of that. It ultimately must rest on pure power.